Hi everyone, my name is Teresa Jurgens and thank you to tuning in to this new video series on the Innovation Process book. In this series, I'm going to be reading from the Innovation Process book, part of the Innovation book series. The book is available at Amazon in paperback and Kindle. And today is episode 2. We're covering part 1, Waterfall New Product Development, or NPD, and we're going to read from chapter 2, Waterfall NPD Process Overview. Waterfall processes for project management are not new. NASA reportedly used a waterfall process to design the Mercury rockets for the first manned spaceflight starting in 1958. Bob Cooper popularized the stage gate system based on his extensive research into product development. Winning at New Products, Bob Cooper's book, documents his legacy studies and introduces staged and gated processes for new product development. While the terms waterfall and staged and gated are commonly interchanged, there are some very slight technical differences in the formal definitions. We use both waterfall and staged and gated to describe the typical phased approach to product development. Risk and uncertainty. In figure 2.1 shown here, risk is linked by technical uncertainty with requirements uncertainty. Low technical uncertainty means that the project team knows how to do the work, whereas low requirements uncertainty means the project team knows what to do. We refer to these as simple projects, and we can deploy the waterfall process effectively in these situations. Technical uncertainty. Every product today involves implementation of technology. Knowing how to solve a problem reduces the technical uncertainty. On the other hand, innovation projects often deliver new technology, generating additional convenience or availability of products and services for customers. Technology provides direction in how to solve customer problems. When the innovation team does not know how to solve the problem, technical uncertainty is high. For example, due to battery capacity, electric cars often do not have the range of gasoline-powered vehicles. There is no easy technical solution since adding batteries to a car also adds weight, which reduces its performance as perceived by potential customers. Most automobile manufacturers are also dependent on adversarial foreign supplies of metals for batteries, increasing the uncertainty of a viable technical solution. In other situations, technical uncertainty is low. Consider that the technology tracking a user's visits and clicks within websites is quite common. Big tech and all sorts of marketing agencies follow clicks in order to better understand customer behaviors. These insights are translated to serving users more targeted information to improve their value delivery. This technology has a low degree of uncertainty since it is widely deployed and practiced in the IT industry. Requirements uncertainty. Requirements uncertainty can be high for new product development projects. To be successful, innovation teams must fully understand problems facing customers and customer behaviors to address those issues. Gathering customer insights is a key feature of all the NPD processes. We will later discuss tools and techniques to collect end-user feedback to assure features and functions will satisfy customer needs. In a traditional sense, however, project requirements mean being able to define expected outcomes for the project. If your project is to build a house, the requirements clearly state the house will be 2,100 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Known requirements are easily transferred into product or engineering specifications. In this case, the requirements uncertainty is low because we have a clear description of the house to build. In other cases, the requirements uncertainty is high. Perhaps you are searching for a destination for a family vacation. You must discover locations and activities that span the interests of grandparents, teenagers, and toddlers. Some of your family likes hot weather, while others prefer cool temperatures. In this situation, you realize high requirements uncertainty because you cannot clearly specify what elements are fundamental for a successful family vacation. Defining innovation. Thus, innovation has 2 levels of risk. technical uncertainty, and requirements uncertainty. How we do the work and what the expected outcome is represent these uncertainties. As shown in Figure 2.1, we can assign project complexity and a project management methodology to each category of risk. Depending on risk, the NPD, New Product Development Process approach, is different. Of course, these decisions are coupled with the 4 general risk factors of customer, financial, technical, and people risk. We discussed that in Episode 1. In the lower left corner of Figure 2-1, both technical and requirements uncertainty are low, meaning we know how to do the work and what outcomes are expected. These types of projects lend themselves to predictive NPD processes like Waterfall, the scientific method. At the opposite extreme in the upper right-hand corner of Figure 2-1, uncertainty is high for both technical and requirements outcomes. These projects are inherently risky because the how and what of the work are both unknown. Such projects are often handled by the research and development (R&D) functions to generate fundamental project building blocks. R&D teams will use the traditional scientific method to manage these high-risk projects. Recall that the scientific method is an approach to research in which a problem is identified, a solution is hypothesized, and data is gathered. To validate hypotheses, it is impossible to know the solution a priori. The scientific method is embodied in the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, and is a form of iterative work, such as in the Agile approach to project management. The PDCA cycle is illustrated in Figure 2-2. For instance, in searching for a cost-effective, environmental-friendly alternative to traditional plastic packaging, a researcher might test plant-based materials. The R&D team cannot specify upfront which plant material will work, nor can they specify how to convert the plant material into a plastic-like substance. Both requirements uncertainty and technical uncertainty are high in this case. The scientific method is invaluable to identify opportunities for innovation. Cooper calls R&D the technology stage gate process. See the references at the back of the book. We can think of the technology stages and gates as an innovation process that seeks opportunities and potential technical solutions before moving to conventional waterfall project execution. Product managers must actively participate in R&D to understand emerging technologies as well as to frame customer problems for creative investigation. Traditional waterfall process. A traditional waterfall process is often deployed for simple projects with low risk. A project with low technical uncertainty means the technology is known, tested, and established. This does not mean that the technology is not sophisticated. Innovation staged and gated processes are aptly deployed when the requirements are known upfront as well. Thus, the project is defined as low risk. We know how to create the product or service, and we know what outcomes, features, and functions are expected. With these definitions, constructing a new petrochemical plant is a low-risk project. We know what the expected outcome is, and we can describe it with clear, concise, measurable engineering specifications. While the technology is sophisticated, the unit operations are known and tested. Therefore, the construction of a new plant fits into the category of simple projects of Figure 2-1. Let's apply a waterfall process to this example and then move to a generic definition of staged and gated processes for new product development. Waterfall process example, petrochemical plant. When this book was written in 2023, a new petrochemical plant might cost $4 to $8 billion US and deploy state-of-the-art chemical processing technology, but it is still a simple project. We can plan each phase of work with specific milestones and deadlines. Up front, we can estimate the project cost, including expenditures at each stage of work, and we can assign the correct number of resources with the right skill sets. The waterfall process indicates that the project starts with feasibility planning and then moves to front-end engineering, detailed engineering, construction, commissioning, and startup, and ends with normal production. These phases are shown in Figure 2-3, as on the screen right now. Each phase of work includes milestones and deadlines that serve as gates to move the project to the next phase. Phases of work typically involve different functional team members to handle the changing scale and scope of work. A defining characteristic of a waterfall process is that each step must be completed before moving to the next one. Staged and gated NPD process. When a product development project has well-defined requirements but varying levels of technical uncertainty, a conventional staged and gated system serves to appropriately address the lower level of risk. Bob Cooper studied organizations that were successful with innovation and found several differentiating factors between them and companies that were less successful or failed with product development efforts. Amongst the success factors was incremental investment to address technical uncertainties and a way to link product development activities to corporate strategic objectives. In the first instance, the staged and gated system addresses technical risk, how we do it, by setting telescoping experiments and trials. With each stage of work, the investment increases while the technical uncertainty correspondingly declines. Project spending increases as the project advances through subsequent stages, yet overall risk declines because more knowledge is gained in each stage to hedge against unknowns. The second goal of a waterfall process for NPD is met during the routine gate reviews of the project. After each stage of work is completed, the project viability is reviewed by senior managers to determine if the innovation effort should continue. When gatekeepers approve of the work, including the critical element of strategic alignment, the project advances to the next stage. As an analogy, a petrochemical product advances through a staged and gated system from test tube trials to a 1-gallon batch pilot test. If test results are as expected, the next stage would increase investment to a 100-gallon continuous operation pilot plant before being approved for normal day-to-day production. Knowledge and experience gained from lab experiments at a test tube scale provide guidance for the batch pilot test. Likewise, batch testing provides further know-how to operate the small-scale continuous reactor, and so on. Products from each phase are tested in-house and with appropriate customers. In this way, any quality issues can be identified early and addressed when the product is rolled out to the full market with normal trials and normal production. The waterfall process supports multiple phases of product trials, from early samples with the batch reactor to full-scale commercial and market evaluations. The idea funnel. The primary focus of a staged and gated NPD process, including traditional waterfall methodologies and hybrid systems like Agile, is to manage financial risk. It is not uncommon to overlay the NPD funnel with a staged and gated process to illustrate the culling of product ideas over time. See Figure 2-4 as shown on the screen. As shown by the spheres entering the funnel in Figure 2-4, an innovation team may generate hundreds of product ideas during a typical half-day ideation session. Grouping the ideas into themes and categories may result in 10 or 20 concepts deemed for further testing and revision. Not all of these concepts will meet customer needs, be financially viable, or be technically feasible. Thus, a number of ideas are culled that cannot demonstrate potential for long-term profits. As new product concepts move through the staged and gated process, fewer meet the minimum criteria for continued development work. Ultimately, a couple of hundred ideas results in 1 or 2 products that are commercialized. The hallmark of a successful waterfall process for new product development is the continuous screening and rejection of ideas as they advance through the process. These are the decisions made at gate reviews. It is much less expensive to conduct a dozen concept trials than to manufacture and launch a dozen fully functional products. In this way, the staged and gated process is used as a learning tool so that project uncertainty declines with the funneling of ideas. A typical staged and gated NPD process. As indicated in Figure 2-4 on the previous slide, stages are time periods in which work is completed by the innovation team, and gates are decision points. Staged and gated processes range from just 2 or 3 stages for expedited projects and to 5 or more stages for more complicated projects. A typical staged and gated process is shown here in Figure 2-5, where stages are represented by rectangles and gates by diamonds. The light bulb at the left indicates an idea entering the process, and the circle at the right of the diagram indicates the post-launch review process. Stages include the following activities, which we'll discuss in a later episode when we cover Chapter 4 for more information. Stage 1, opportunity identification, market analysis. Stage 2, concept generation, initial customer testing. Stage 3, concept evaluation, prototype testing. Stage 4, technology development, manufacturer planning, and Stage 5, product launch. At each stage, work is completed to address outstanding issues for the new product. Gate reviews, usually led by a senior management gatekeeping team, verify that the new product will deliver value to the customer and to the company. Validating the business case of the new product results in a gate approval and gives the NPD team permission to continue working on the project. Recall that technical and requirements uncertainties decline as investment increases, while the particular product or firm addresses overall business risks, customer, financial, technical, and people, by adhering to the staged and gated process. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the reading of the Innovation Process book. Get your copy from Amazon, a link is below, and join the class where we'll go into detail for 6 weeks covering the various NPD processes starting August 12th, 2025. Again, the link is below. Thanks for joining me, and next time we'll cover Chapter 3, Roles and Responsibilities in Waterfall Process.